just being able to evolve as a leader, because the people who just stay stagnant are the ones who are often left behind.
Oh yeah. And that's what I want. And that's really part of that personal development too, is like, you got to get around people that are like-minded with you. So if you do go to those things, and I work like 14-hour days or 14 to 16-hour days, and I was learning. And
failure to me is when I'm dead and I haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah.
Or I haven't accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish.
100%.
That's failure. That's true failure.
Yeah.
All right. But as you know, as I told you, like, this podcast is going to be talking about the importance of, it's going to be talking about the importance of self-development.
Yeah.
Right. So just becoming a better version of yourself. And that is something that I preach through my brand, Inspo Dreams, right? Inspo Dreams is here to create a community of leaders and hardworking individuals who are highly motivated and want to take control of their future and rise above their standards. I love that. Right. And how do you do that? How are you able to rise above your standards? How are you able to motivate, and how are you able to be motivated and be a leader? You have to be able to have some kind of self-development. And I'll talk about it in some of my other podcast episodes, is just being able to evolve as a leader, because the people who just stay stagnant are the ones who are often left behind.
Oh yeah.
And actually, just to give some background on my boy Noah over here, he is our outgoing battalion commander, because every semester we switch battalion commanders. I'm pretty sure it's like that for a lot. I know actually some people, it's like that at a lot of different schools. Yeah. And so he's our outgoing battalion commander. Phenomenal job. I mean, ran it tight. It was really good. Man, look, he does that. He was really good. I guarantee to talk to anybody on his staff. They're the same. And I have, and they said the same. Really good. I appreciate it. So yeah, man. So and so just and again, for those who don't know, battalion, you can actually just explain that, because you actually been in that role. I have, but at a lower level in high school. Yeah. But you can explain that. So how is a battalion commander, and what are some things as a leader you've seen that can help towards self-development?
Well, the battalion commander, man, it's funny. I was just talking about the name with this today. I was telling her, I was like, it's an ongoing joke that no one knows what the PC does. Yeah. Like, it really, everyone just goes like, he ain't doing anything. Yeah. Like what are they doing, right? But I came into but I heard that stigma, and I didn't like it, because it's my job, right? And it's me. Like, I'm Noah. Like, Noah never ever is going to be caught just not doing anything or not being an asset to the team. Like, you know how it is. We talk about sports all the time. It's like, you never want to be the weakest one. You never want to be the one to miss the tackle. And I'm not trying to crap on you right now. Like, bro, I wish I was on the team, bro. Like, I do, but yeah, no, like I never want to be the weakest link. So some of my thoughts coming into this year, were like to define the role, and then also like change the culture, right? Not that we needed a big culture change, but the ma'am even said it today. She's like, you guys as a class are like tight. And I was like, yeah. I mean, well, good, because that's what I've noticed that too, man. But like, some of the stuff we did was just like, me personally, and then some of the friends and homies on staff, we were like, dude, have parties on every month. The September one, back to school party. October, obviously, the Halloween party. November, we have like Thanksgiving, some Friendsgivings. December, tomorrow we have the holiday party. January, there's another back to school one. So like, that stuff keeps a class, not only in class, but like you guys saw it, hopefully from like down to like the junior, sophomores, freshmen. Oh, there's a community here where like anyone's welcome. Right. And that's the thing. And that's what I want. And that's really part of that personal development too, is like, you got to get around people that are like-minded with you. So if you do go to those things, don't think of it like a networking opportunity, because those people usually, I'm like, slimy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're kind of just there to bump elbows with the right people, I don't think that's the right thing to do. It happens organically. You just like first time I met you, I don't know if you remember this, first experience I had with you, and I always remember what people do for me when they do nice things for me. I was in here and I was going to meet Josh, and you know how he is, dude. Like, that phone, his phone can be in his hand, and he's just like, it's like, I never got your text. You're like, you're lying to me, bro. And I'm sitting downstairs, and I don't have the key card to get into this building. But you come up behind me, like, hey, bro, I got you. Let me in. And I was like, okay. So I got upstairs and I asked him about you, and said great things, of course, but I was like, what a nice guy, man. And that's when we started talking, and I was like, oh, this guy's a lot like-minded, right? Yeah. We talked about that, building your community through your brand. And yeah, dude, like that's part of it. That would be my first recommendation, right? So if you walk away from anything else, go around other people that are like-minded, or the better yet, the suggestion is go around people that are better than you. Yeah, exactly. And that you will learn from that. I promise you will learn from them. They don't need to give you all the X's and O's, or at least I don't. But you get around those people, they start to know you. Then they can give you advice that fits you, right? So that would be like my piece. Get around people that are better than you, like-minded, strive for those high goals, and you're like, okay, well then let me just see what these guys do.
And that's dope. So you're basically like just saying, build organically, build your group organically, and not try to force nothing on nobody. Yeah. And that's so true, because like you said, you made a lot I have noticed this actually is that where people, they try to, like you said, they try to network and try to force their way in a relationship with somebody, and they get the wrong advice because that worked for that person for who they are. But you know, and there are some like basic things that work for everybody, right? There's some basic rules and how to be successful that just work for everybody, but there are some intricacies that just don't work for everybody. And it just depending on what you're doing, whether in your business, whether in your school, whether your army, whether anything, you know what I mean? It really anything. So you have to be able to identify that and be like, okay, he or she is just like me. And so I know that whatever advice they give me is going to at least 90% work as opposed to 50, you know what I mean? 50% work. And we talked a little bit about being around other people more like better than you. We was at NPT. We was in the PT. You joined our platoon, and we was doing the 3060s. It was 3060s.
What you talking about? The one?
No, it was 120.
6120.
6120. Yeah.
Out in the field, right?
Yep. Out in the field. Yeah. And then we talked about it then. And you're just like, it's just like so many people just don't want to, you know, be around. So many people want to associate themselves with those who are lower than them to try to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And you're not getting better, right? All you're doing is just filling your ego. And something that my football coach, shout out to Lewis Murphy. He actually a football coach. He played 10 years in the NFL.
No, really?
Yeah. I mean, one of the greatest coaches.
That's awesome.
Amazing. He was an amazing coach. He turned our football program around actually.
Good.
He did really great. And something that he always harped on when we went to film room because he would chew us out.
Good.
Leave your ego out the door. And that always stuck with me, for one, because he said it about 50 times a day. But two, because that's a coach. Coaches
have that one. Coaches or teachers, everyone has that tagline, dude. Same thing with your parents, you know what I mean? We had a lieutenant colonel, bro. Not the side. We had a lieutenant colonel in high school, dude. And the biggest joke was just hydrate. Because he would just walk around like, hydrate. Like, dude, like no matter what the problem was, you're like, girl broke up with you. You know what you gotta do? You gotta hydrate. It's like, no matter what it is, you just hydrate.
Bro's the CEO of water.
He probably has stock in something and I just didn't know it, dude. He's just like Zephyr Hills. All right.
Hey man, but like seriously, and leave your ego at the door. That's so important because that goes like your ego can be your biggest downfall.
100%.
You know, it's good to have it when you need it. It's good to have it when you need it for certain situations. But for a lot of other situations, you're trying to grow, you're trying to get better, you're trying to listen to others, and you're trying to actually get something moving. You got to leave your ego at the door. So you got to be able to take a beating. You got to be able to listen to what someone is telling you. Take the fruits from the vines is what I like to say. That's right. That's something I came with because the vines is they throwing all this stuff at you. They saying, man, this is trash. You can't be doing this. Those are the vines. But in between those vines is the fruits. You gotta learn how to just take the hits from the vine and just take the fruits. Right? And so you come out, you have a basket full of good stuff, fruits. Right. Some people go through the vines, they get the vines thrown at them, and they just trying to catch all the vines because they're too worried about every little thing that they say, and they get too emotional, and they come out instead of with a basket full of fruits that they can eat on, they come in a basket full of wines that's going to keep on hurting them for a while longer.
I see.
So so that's something I like to say. Is just take the fruits from the vines.
I like that, man.
So yeah,
you know, man, I read a book, and it's huge communities. Jocko Willick's book, Extreme Ownership. That's huge.
I gotta read that. That's about 4 times I heard.
So there's two. So there's the Extreme Ownership is the one that came out in like 2015 or 16. Then he wrote another one called The Dichotomy of Leadership in 2018. And he has like other stuff too, but those are the two books. And I love Jocko's stuff. I love the podcast and everything. One of the chapters literally is check your ego. And it's like, it's super important, man. Of course, you don't want to be walking around thinking that you're the best. I always say sipping your own Kool-Aid. You know, I don't like, for me, that's I don't think I have a problem with it, but I focus on it so much because I'm so worried that if one day I do have a problem with it, when your ego's so out of control, it doesn't only affect you professionally, it affects you personally. So that's one of those things where it's like, you got to walk that fine line. So ego for me is always like, make sure you're like, don't ever think you're too great. Don't ever think you're too little. Just understand life is ebbs and flows. Don't ride with the waves. Just
you literally just have to flow. You just have to flow with everything. And then you just take what you can get and keep it moving. That's all you can do at the end of the day. Because time's going to keep moving forward. So you got to just keep moving forward with the time. So, and even try to stay ahead of the time even, right? But that's like a whole nother topic for a whole nother thing, right?
We can talk 3 hours, bro.
That's forward thinking right there. But All right, so the next question I have is how do you intentionally discover the importance of self-development, and what motivated you to pursue that?
That's a good question, man. And I'm a storyteller. You know me, I tell stories and stuff. I couldn't really answer this question without kind of walking people through where I was at 14, 15 years old, man. So 14, 15 years old, and I won't get into all the family background and stuff like that, but things with my stepdad weren't great. Just I'm in a bad place in my life in the sense that just like I need to make change. And when you're 15 years old and your hormones are rampant and you don't feel like you trust anybody, you only got the boys, you know what I mean? And you realize the boys aren't going to be around forever. You know, there's only so many things you can do. So I was in a real big slump, and thank God, shout out to my brother-in-law Josh. I'm going out to see him Saturday in Dallas. Yeah, so he used to live in Denver. He met me at like 14 years old, right? And he told me, he's like, hey, you should come out next summer and you should work with me. And he did appliance repair. He was a manager, and now he's a general manager of a plumbing company out in Dallas, making a lot of money. Great, good job. Yeah. Shout out to him and the whole family. But he said, you should come work with me, dude. And I love Josh. Like I was like, oh, he's super fun. Like working with him should be super fun. Right. Well, through ebbs and flows, like I said, I was in this big slump. My mom, you know, God bless her, she was like, yeah, we'll send you out to Dallas or Denver. No, have some fun. Like just and just over a month I was out there. And I worked like 14-hour days. Or 14 to 16-hour days, and I was learning and talk about getting, you know, like chewed out and stuff like that, right? So I don't know the first thing about tools. I don't know the first thing about, you know, anything like that at 15, right? Dude, all I had was hustle. That's all I had, and still to this day, like I'm not the fastest, not the strongest, not the best, but I have hustle, right? And so I remember after we were done working, at the end of the summer, he was like, dude, I'm gonna miss your hustle. A lot of guys don't have that, but whether it was, you know, if I brought him the wrong tool, guess what? I'm running to the van. I'm gonna go try to find the right one, right? If it's, you know, go talk to this customer. I'm gonna get my ass to the customer, right? So through all that work, and why I say, you know, like I'm going out there and I'm working hard, and he helped me answer a lot of the questions that I had of myself without even realizing. So I really do appreciate that. I realized organically, again, didn't go out there to try to find myself, but I came back with this like real appreciation of life. I was like, dude, no one knows what hard work is at my age yet. That dude was working 6 days a week, 14-hour days. He had Sundays off, maybe. Right? Dude, and you're doing appliance repair. And he's doing most of these jobs by himself, right? So he's scaling buildings and you know, doing all sorts of working with chemicals, and it's like, oh my God, dude, like this is wildly like taxing. I get back at night and I'm passed out, bro. Yeah. But we had our fun too, and everything like that. But yeah, so like to answer the question about personal development, I realized I was like, oh, you need to, in the words of David Goggins, you need to suffer. Like you need to go through some adversity in life to come out on the other side understanding that like this made you better, right? Like that's your new rock bottom. Great. Keep finding a new one, right? Keep finding that worst experience, that worst day. Like I can tell everyone, I'm sure it might come up later, my worst day in life, right? I will tell everyone the story. It was crappy, but I'm glad it happened, right? So that kind of led me to go, you know what, dude? Like for a kid as messed up as I am, what I could become is really awesome, right? And I had some intangibles, don't mind. I think everyone has like something going for them, and I have some intangibles of leadership and stuff. But I was like, dude, if I really put some effort into my life, right? Going through adversity, signing up for the next hardest challenge, getting in shape, doing X, Y, and Z. Dude, I can really rock this thing. Right. And that's what I found out. It was just organic. It was almost like happenstance. I was just like, oh my God, I got my mouth rocked for a month of just doing hard work. And I was like, this is good. This is good for people. Like more people should do this, bro. So yeah, that's kind of how I stumbled into like personal development. This happenstance, but obsession, immediate obsession with getting better.
Yeah. And I think Ray Lewis actually did say this, and he was like, a lot of successful people are seen as crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's just that obsession, it's that drive. Like people who are successful, people who want to be successful, it's a certain like other people who aren't as obsessed isn't going to get your perspective, isn't going to get why are you going so hard.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have these questions before. I've had these questions throughout the entirety of my life. Is why do you go so hard?
Oh yeah.
Cartez, why are you always working? Why don't you come out and have a little bit of fun? Granted, I have fun on my timing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When I know I need to have fun, I go and have fun.
Yeah.
Right. And I also know that fun is always going to be here for the rest of our life. We're going to be 100 years old, and fun is still going to. There's still going to be some party.
There's still be a Super Bowl to go to, right? Yeah, like you can always have some fun, right?
It's still going to be a Super Bowl. Yeah. It's still going to be something. Yep. It's still going to be fun everywhere, and in fact, the fun is just going to keep on doubling every year. Yep. You know, there's more and more things coming out by the day. Yeah. So I'm not missing out on anything, but the thing I am missing out on is time. That's something that we will not have forever. Yeah. Time is not, knock on wood, right? We can walk out of this room right now and get shot or something like that.
I'm crazy.
But we have to, but the thing that you always are going to have fun. And this is something for the viewers to understand too. Like you're always going to have fun.
You always have the opportunity, man.
You're always going to have the opportunity to have fun. The only thing in life that you won't have an opportunity to have is time, because it keeps going. It keeps going forward. Right. It will not stop for nobody, and it keeps going. You're going to age no matter what. Yeah. You're aging right now. Tomorrow I'm going to be older than I was today. Yeah. Right? When my birthday comes around, guess what? Yeah. I'm 20. I'm going to be older than I was last year. You see what I'm saying? So it's just putting in just understanding those things, and especially coming from a team like me, is that a lot of people say, like, man, I really admire your mindset. You have a mindset like a 30 or 40-year-old entrepreneur person. I'm like, well, it's not even, I grew up in a family household where it was really just drilled into us. Like, it was like, we have to make sure that we're on top of our stuff at all times. It's very similar to your story. I was doing things at 15 and 16 years old as well. Right, I was like out working with my dad. Like, I have videos of stuff, me cutting the tile and stuff like that. Yeah, me and him putting.
My dad was a carpenter.
Right?
A carpet layer. Yeah, so I know what you mean.
Yeah, me and my dad stayed building stuff somewhere. It was remember, I think it's probably a couple times before this, but the biggest project I remember doing with my father was for my grandma's house, and we was laying down that floor. We was laying down the floor in her kitchen. She was getting a new floor, and we put down everything that we needed and everything. I was sitting there laying it down with him. And I thought that was amazing because, like you said, not too many people doing this at 15 or younger years old. People in the house gaming, or during our times, at least, it was outside, right? Shooting hoops or something like that. It wasn't doing nothing that was going to be as productive for them in the future. And so that is so important for self-development. And like you said, just always searching for the next thing, always searching for ways to get better. That's the only way makes sense. You're searching for ways to get better, you're going to get better. You're not searching for ways to get better,
you're
going to stay the same. The simple formula is 1 + 1 = 2.
That's true. I have another story for you because you reminded me of talking story.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what my brother taught me about working. This dude. So if people might remember the first Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight. If you remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched that
fight back.
It was which was just a spectacular fight, dude. I was like, whoa. When he got knocked down to 12th, I was like, all right, well, homie's dead. And then he got back up. I'm like, whoa, man. So crazy. Yeah, so it was a great fight. I'm a huge fight fan. My brother, dude, by the way, after a day of work, we got home, we bought it. It was great. Had dinner and stuff like that. So we were watching it. He had laminate floors at the time, like the wood laminate. You know, it was like little snap-ins and stuff like that. So he told. By the way, this wasn't during that month. I kept going back out. I keep going back out and visit him because it's like my medicine for the year. That's awesome. It humbles me because I'm like, I am nowhere near where I need to be in life. Awesome. So I went out there and by the way, so Denver time's like 2 hours behind East Coast. So I'm tired, man. By the time this is over, it's only like 10 o'clock, but for me it's like 12. So he goes, as soon as it's over, he clicks it off. He's like, wow, what a fight. Well, man, time to tear up the score.
Probably that man like, you crazy?
I did. I was like, dude, nah, bro. Like we got other days to do this. And he's like, no, like, I mean, you can go to bed, dude. And he took his hoodie off. And he opened up the garage door. And he didn't say a word after that. I watched him do 3 pieces, and I was like, So not only we tear it all up, we loaded it all up into his pickup truck. And in the middle of the night, drove out to a dump at his job, dumped it all, then came all the way back and started doing some other fine tuning and stuff like that. Dude, it took us out it was like 2:30 in the morning by the time we're done. Wow. So by that time, it's 4:30 in the morning. You know, and I'm like, I'm barely awake. I'm barely conscious, right? Yeah. But he sat down at the very end of it. He told me, he's like, dude, so check it out. You thought the night was done when the fight. That's fine. You could have. That could have been your night, and I wouldn't have judged you any differently. But you came and did the hard job. Yeah. And I was like, and I felt imposter syndrome because I was like, well, I didn't want to do it. Yeah. You know, like, I did like you. Like, to me, like, logically.
Feel that way.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't want to do it. Like, you just did it. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this poor man just do this all alone. Yeah. Overnight. It would have taken him twice as long. Yep. And I was there snapping crap up, and I helped them, later on install the new flooring and stuff. And yeah, so it was one of those stories, man, where we talk about like putting in flooring. I was like, oh my god, dude, like, I've had a 4-hour fiasco putting in flooring, dude,
man,
or taking it out, putting it in. So yeah, no, that was wild.
I'm pretty sure any person who does any kind of construction with anybody in their family,
oh my god, they're just shaking. Yeah, they're just like
that pain. I'm telling you, there were so many nights and days. My dad was doing stuff. I'm just like, bro, I don't want to be here.
Right.
But then it's like that imposter syndrome at the same time. It's like, bro, I don't have to be here, but for something keeping me here. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it's keeping me here to keep on doing this thing. And there were some times I was like, bro, I could be in bed right now.
Oh my god. Dude, how many times do you think we felt that? You felt that in your life? You're just sitting there like,
bro, I could be in bed.
Sleep. You ever remember the army? You ever sitting there on the FTX? You're like, like when we get back from like the range or something like that at night, you're like, it's 8:30 right now, or maybe it's like anywhere 11 o'clock, and you're like at home, you're watching Thursday night football. Instead, I'm at the range, dude. It's like, oh god.
I was heated, by the way, because I couldn't watch no football at that time.
No,
I was like, bro, by the time we got to the Bears, I was tired. I'm ready. I'm knocked out. Yeah, I'll probably watch like 5 minutes of the game, be knocked out. I'm like, bro, I can't get to watch the game.
Oh my god, dude, I can't consume any media.
But you feel so much more accomplished.
You do. Yeah, when you're exhausted, I don't think there's a better feeling. People are missing out on that. There's no better feeling than having every ounce of effort squeezed out of you, and you just sit there like done. It's almost like you do a super hard workout, and you're like you've never breathed so hard before. Your sweats just like pool around you.
It's an addiction.
And you're just sitting there like, and that moment of just clarity and peace, I pray to God everyone can get that feeling.
Yes.
That is such a good feeling.
It's an addiction, and that's why I've also started falling in love with running. I had to stop doing it because I had to focus on finals and some other things with school and stuff. But that's like I was starting to really fall in love with running for that reason. And I remember actually exactly a year ago. Today I was on a run because I was back home for the Christmas break or whatever, and I developed this sense of it's better to run without music, right? And it's because you get that sense of clarity, right? Just to connect that back to your point. You get that when you're done running or in the middle of it, you let your thoughts flow, you just let, and it becomes like you said, that hard effort just is purely just you, your flesh, and God. Like that's it. It ain't, bro, it ain't nothing, nobody else, it ain't no music,
no one can help you.
No one can help you.
Right.
You're on this alone. Right. And so when I was doing those 5-mile, 6-mile runs during that time, it was just me and that. And it was hard. It sucked.
No, it does. It does.
But what kept me going back out is because of that obsession. I had this goal. And then also because of like that moment of clarity. When you're done with running, you just laying there and you feel so accomplished. Like I really just ran that on my own time. Without nobody having telling me. Without music. And I won. That is the biggest victory I won today.
I like that phrase because like dude, that's exactly what it feels like. I won the right to be alive today. It's kind of like that old expression like earn the day. It's like that's why I work out in the morning. And I know that that maybe later on down in life I won't be able to do that, but like God, dude, I always try to adjust it. Like even so, I have like an early morning flight out to Dallas, and I have the holiday parties tomorrow night. But I'm getting up at 4:30 just so I can run, get it in, and then get my flight. And I always say like you can always sleep on the plane. So it's
that's the best feeling. You chase that feeling like man, once I'm done, I'm gonna sleep anyway. That's the feeling. Ain't gonna lie. When we did that 10-mile run, that's the feelings that I chase. And those sucks. I don't. That's like my annual 10-mile run. I'm going to start doing that more often, not like just during that time.
I thought that too.
But like when we do that, that's what keeps me going. Even on the runs, period, that's what keeps me going. I'm like, after this, I'm going to go to sleep. I chase after that feeling. So even if you're the type of person, I'd be like, I love sleeping. I don't like workout. Well, chase after the feeling to sleep after you work out.
It's a great feeling.
It's an amazing feeling because when you're done, you're like, guess what? I'm going to shower.
Go to bed.
And it's usually the best sleep you ever get in your life.
It's true. You're exhausted, dude.
Your body's just fully relaxed at that point.
I do got to say, I loved your question earlier this year when me and Stevens came in the room. And when we were going around doing our little, and you were like, "How do you guys get so good at running?"
Oh man!
And I love Stevens, dude. And by the way, this is like 10 million Instagram followers, whatever. But I was like, dude. And I just started looking at him. I was like, because I looked at you. I was like, that's genetics. This is like commitment, bro. And he works hard. I know he works really hard, but not at like everything. Like he's like, I know I don't run. And I'm like, you don't run? He goes, no, I'm just good at it.
Bro can roll off of like 10
Off the
McDonald's meals, off the couch, drunk probably, and go run a 12 minutes.
He could beat me. Yeah, and I'm just like,
it's like, huh?
I'm like, I'm committed to a diet like for years. Like I haven't had candy and anything, and I'm just like, oh my god, this guy is just so good. It's like, all right, well,
it's just natural for him.
Yeah,
and it's so incredible. Okay, I thought that went off for a second. I was like,
oh no,
no, it's still on. It's still on. All right, we're good. All right, but it's so, because I remember the first time I experienced, like I experienced Stevens, and I'm gonna say it just like that. I experienced Stevens. I promise to God, it was on Ranger Challenge team last year when I was on it, and I was like, oh, there's another brother here, like. I'm gonna keep it real. Listen, my freshman year, I was like, there's a brother, like, let's get it.
That's cool. Oh my god.
And so
there's nothing like that for white people, by the way. I don't go around, I'm like, there's another one.
I was like, hey, let's get it. So he was the Ranger Challenge team. I'm like, all right, bet, we doing something right, let's go.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, of course I knew that he was upperclassman, so I knew he was going to be just naturally better because he had more training than me.
Yeah.
But this man here, I mean, I was out of words. It's just different. Just bred different. I was like, okay, how can I obtain that?
Yes.
And when I seen that, I was like, I have so far to go.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I got on there, I was like, okay, this Range Challenge team, I really didn't know what to expect. Let's be real. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's RTC, Ranger Challenge. I know it's a step, like 30
step
steps.
Above
30 steps level with JRTC. Yeah. But I didn't know what to expect. But when I seen that, and then we had our first competition, and I was like, okay, I have a lot of stuff to work on. I have a lot of stuff to work on. And then you came into the picture, and I was like, well, guys, please. So it's more of them.
You know what's funny? I had that first experience too with him. You need to get him on. Yeah. You need to bully him to get him on.
Oh man, we both need the.
I will, because I go golfing with him every night. I will bully him, dude. Yeah. And don't let him commit. I whip his ass in golf, dude. I hope he knows that too. Dude, when I first asked him the first time that he met me, what that day was like, because and you know him, he doesn't really tell any stories with like pizzazz. Yeah. But it's so funny to hear his perspective. So we were doing like the parking garage PT, and we're doing like carrying like 45-pound plates, we're running around, crawling through the sand and stuff. Dude, I'm giggling through this because I'm like, I'm so in shape, and I'm looking at everyone else. I'm like, dude, we got a long way to go, and that's how I was. I came in here like ready to go, and I see this other dude who's just like, no, let's go. Yeah, and I'm like, what? I'm like, there's more. And I was like, good. I want to test this guy. Yeah. But then he had two 45-pound plates slung in these fingers for miles.
Oh, that's crazy.
Miles.
He can do that, so I know he can.
And I came up to him like multiple times during. Oh, by the way, we're doing the parking garage, so like he's running up and down the ramps with the plates.
That's crazy.
And I was like, hey man, let me get the plate. Yeah. Like I'm just like jogging next to. I have like something. I have like an ammo can or something. I'm like, let me get the plate. And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And I was like, and I remember my first thought was, I'll see him again in 4 minutes. Yeah. He won't be good. Came back at 4 minutes. I was like, let me get that plate, bro. You good? He was like, okay. Nah. I did that to him 2 more times. He was like, dude, I got it. I was like, okay. So I went to someone else, carried more stuff, and ran to the front. Yeah, dude, he's built different, dude. I don't mean to talk about someone that no one else knows, but
it's fine because, and that's so important for even viewers to know. Is like this. In case you were wondering, there are more people out there. My mom and dad stayed talking about that with me. Because back in high school, I was like, there's not too many people here like me. Like, there's motivated people here. People want to get out, they want to do stuff. Yeah. But it's nobody like me. You know what I mean? Like, it's no one here that's like me.
Yeah.
Built like me, things like me. Like, I was just completely different.
Yeah.
And at times it got extremely lonely. And it wasn't until I came here and I met you, and I met other people around the program, specifically RTC. Mm-hmm. And then now this year I just branched out and there's someone else that thinks similarly like me.
Yeah.
But my circle stays so small because of that. It's not too many people that think and are bred this way.
Yeah.
Right. It's another level to this. And I know there's millions of other people out there in the world that are like us.
Yeah.
Right, that think like us, that move like us. I mean, we see it.
Yeah,
we talk to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
You got Stevens, right? And there's so many other people. There's a lot of other people in the program that are really good.
Yeah.
And so I think that it just, you have to, that's getting out your environment, getting out your comfort zone. Something that we talked about in the last episode is just stepping out your comfort zone and just going out and experiencing those experiences with different people.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to get better. Yeah. I'm going to move to another question, which almost links into this.
Mm-hmm.
But can you share? Nah, I'm gonna ask this one actually. In a world with like a lot of distractions, how do you stay focused on your self-development goals?
For me, dude, it's routine, but it's also like I don't get. It sounds weird and it sounds arrogant to a point, but I just don't get distracted. Like at the end of the day, here's a good answer to it too. Fear of failure. Like now, you have to accept that failure is going to happen. Right? It's part of life, and you learn.
It's respectable fear, though.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what is ultimate failure? What is ultimate failure to me is, well, I'm not going to be a pilot in the Army. I'm not going to have a good job and have to sustain a family. I'm not going to have, and if you don't have the job and the money, well, you're probably not going to have a good woman or a good wife, partner, or whatever, because you're not going to attract the right person. Like a quality person seeks out another quality person. Nothing to do with, like looks and all this other stuff. Now it does. Believe me, I look like Deadpool. I get it. But like, no, for real. But yeah, it goes into all that. Like, right. So like ultimate failure is like, dude, that should scare you half to death. Yeah. Like for real. Like if you look at life and you go, oh my God, like if I don't make the right choices, things can go really bad, dude. Yeah. And if you meet those people early enough, I met plenty in high school who messed up early enough, dude, it's just like a whole nother level of just like, well, I definitely don't want that future. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys have a phrase like this, but me and my best friend, Jacob, we would always say like, oh, he's a hometown bum. He's just a bum. He's a hometowner, dude. Like, because we would see people like that who graduate from Clearwater and you're like, dude, yes, like you did it. Like, what's next? And there's no next step.
Yeah. Their next was graduating high school.
Right, and that
was their next.
And then you just go, oh. Like, that was always my ending. I was like, oh, okay. So I know where you're going. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to be there. And it's always been a natural thing to me as well. It's like, I always want to be like Ray Lewis has that podcast that he has multiple guests on. They talk about what makes people great and stuff like that. But that I always
podcast called.
I forgot. I can pull it. Yeah, I was gonna say I can pull it up right now. But like, he always talked about chasing greatness, and I always sought to do that. Like I always said, like I was like, I don't really care what people say about me when they put rose petals on my box. But one thing I want unanimously, even the people who don't like to say, is that he was great. Whatever it is, right? Great at this, that, and that, and it's not exaggerated. People overuse great.
That's your legacy.
Yeah, right. If your legacy was great, what a hell of an achievement. Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point that you brought up too. And then I also want to add too is fear to me, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where we might differ at, but you might understand it here. But this is why I say failure to me is when I'm dead and I haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah.
Or I haven't accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish.
100%.
That's failure. That's true failure.
Yeah.
Setbacks is the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because in every failure, which is a setback for me, is a learning experience and an opportunity for you to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I say this all the time, and I remember saying this to somebody, and I end up saying, I think I just said this to the wrong person, right? To the wrong ear because they didn't receive it well. But I said a homeless person can become a millionaire if they wanted to. They dedicate their life.
Yeah.
Because they're at their rock, and going back to the point you went to just finding a new rock bottom. Their rock bottom is going to be extremely strong because their rock bottom is I was homeless.
Yeah.
Guess what my new rock? Yeah. Guess what my new rock bottom is? Oh, guess what? I'm in this apartment. Yeah, it's dirty, it's messed up, or this motel is dirty, it's messed up. But I was homeless
down there. Yeah.
Now I'm on a motel.
Yeah.
And if they keep, they go get a job, they keep going. Now I'm in an apartment. Oh, now I got my first house.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm ready to go back to school and go do this thing, or I'm ready to open up this business, or I'm moving up in the corporate ladder. It's obtainable. You can do it.
It is. Yeah, 100%.
I look at even the homeless people, like they can be successful too.
Yeah.
That's why you never count nobody. That's for one, why you never count nobody out, and two, why it's never true failure because they didn't really fail. They just gave up.
That's fair. I mean, there's obviously your cases, and I know you're not saying this thing. But there's obviously like mental disabilities, super abuse of drugs.
There is.
Yeah, there's that 100%. But I agree with you.
That's fact.
There's people that can absolutely just come because you've seen it. I mean, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I know there's like life coaches and stuff that say that. And he said something as well that kind of resonated. John Kavanaugh, Conor McGregor's coach, wrote a whole book called "You Win or You Learn," and it's about experience. It's a good book.
That sounds like
I haven't read it, but I know
that
it's a good book.
That sounds like a good book.
Yeah, you know it is. But I took away from that. I was like, well, you know what? That's true. But here's my other thing. There's no such thing as a bad experience. You talk about a setback. There's no such thing as a bad experience. There's a learning experience. Or there's a good learning experience. It's kind of like when you go on a date. You know what I mean? It's like, it's either, hey, brother, either it doesn't work out or you got the second one, right? That's right. Yeah. So there's either learning experience. What went wrong? What can I look for next time? And maybe just not go out with, right? Or what went well? How do I keep doing that?
And what did you do in that moment? You learned to get better.
Yeah.
And what we're really talking about is perspective, right? Yeah. I think this really it really just comes into the flow of discussion and perspective. Like, how are you viewing the world?
Yeah.
It was just I remember this thing, right? I remember making this association in my mind. I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually. It's kind of interesting. We're talking about this now. And it was, what's the difference between a kid and an adult? And why a kid is always so optimistic, and why adults are usually like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. They're a little more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is just, again, I'm not talking about every person like this. This is a common ground. But the reason why kids are so optimistic and why they can bump their head, get back up and keep running and be happy is because it's the way they look at things. They look at things like, oh, it hurt. I bumped my head. Oh my gosh, I won't do that again. But this is fun. I want to go play with my friend Johnny or whatever. Like, let's go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, or they just look at new experiences fun. Or even, we're going to the grocery store today. We're going to go see this. We're going to do that and then that. Yeah. And they get excited. Yeah. Right? Whereas an adult would be like, boom, oh man, I ran into a pole, man. Why does this stuff always have to happen to me, man? I don't got time for this, You see, it's all about perspective. And it is not truly a kid and a child, but this is just making what does it call it? It's just making an assembly to how life goes, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you bump your head, you get back up, you rub your head, and like you said, man, that was a bad it wasn't a bad experience, but it was just a learning experience. Like, man, okay, I can't, let me look up when I'm running. Yeah. You know what I mean? To get to Johnny to go play. Yeah. Whereas if I bump my head, I'm not going to sit here and just quit on myself and whine and waste all that time. Like, instead, at that same time, with whine, I could be getting up, dusting myself off, and still keep running.
Yeah, here's another. I know you're trying to get to your questions, bro.
Brother, these questions can wait. We having a great discussion.
I'm just here, dude.
Yeah. These just to be prepared. Like, every good though.
Yeah, but you said perception. Yeah, and I love that. And there's a couple people that I was talking to before, and like you said, you kind of go to the wrong ears. People's perception about their life compared to everything else is so funny because they don't even realize how good they have it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll use my friend Jacob again, for example, and I usually do because once I put it into this context, people go, okay, I guess my day isn't really that bad, And so my buddy, he's a tech in the Navy, right? So HT, yeah. So what that is a glorified plumber. He with almost no gear. Yeah. So what I mean by that is, like, you think they give him latex gloves to reach his hand inside those pipes? No. And then that's crazy. I can admit, you're like, I'm not doing that, dude. I'm in the Army. You're like, no, dude. But yeah, so and he goes on deployments, right, on a ship. And one day he said, hey buddy, put up your arm like this. And I was like, okay. And he goes, from your elbow to the tip of your knuckles, that's how much space I have to sleep in. He can't even turn on the side to go to bed. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And he has to share that with another dude because that's how it works in the Navy. It's called a hot rack. So when you're asleep, then you get up to go do your like 12-hour shift or whatever. Some other dude is coming off a 12-hour shift and he goes to that rack. So you guys
usually went out on deployment, right?
Yes, yeah, when they go on shift. Yeah, it's a common practice in the Navy. But yeah, he was telling me about his first deployment, and it was an ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was like, your worst experience might be like Starbucks doesn't have your favorite drink. No, for real, like someone's worst and you can't get super mad at them because sometimes people they've been very fortunate in life, and sometimes their worst day is that, and that is still their worst day. You got to keep that in mind.
It's a blessing to me.
It's a blessing to me too. Yeah,
my worst day.
Yeah, if that's my worst day, I'm happy. But to some people, that's really bad, right? Yeah. And I wish they would get more experiences. That's neither here nor there. But I brought it up. I was like, dude, my brother is sleeping barely. working around the clock for things that are just going to continue to get broken. It's like pushing a boulder uphill. And he's just going to do, all he's trying to do is outlast the clock. And by that, I mean, just wait for the ship to get back to the United States. Like, you know how crappy that life is?
Yeah.
I've
heard that life. I've heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't think I have any relatives on that, but I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah, and it's just wild to me that people walk around and they go, this is not. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't even know what hard is, dude. Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? When I talked to him, I told him that story, and he goes, dude, shut up, because my life isn't even as bad as this dude's life. And then that dude might know another dude, right? So it's this chain reaction. Like, I understand my worst day is nowhere near the top 20,000 worst days of all time. Mm-hmm. Nowhere near. But, you know, you have to have that perspective of like, dude, you know what? Life could be worse. Yeah. Life could be better. Yeah. But I can make it better. It could be worse.
Yeah. That's facts. Yeah. Well, that's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah.
All right. But as we begin to wrap it up here in the podcast, I do ask, you know, for my guests to also leave some advice. So, for some, because primarily what we're targeting are teen people, like, so people between the ages of 17 to 35, right? Okay. So in between that time range of people who just want to get motivated, who resonate with the messages of the clothing brand, right? So for teens and other people alike aspiring to embark on this self-development journey, what advice would you give them based on your own experiences?
That's a good question, man. And there's so many answers to that. But I'll go back to this point, because I had a kid actually ask me how I became BC, and there's a whole other, because I don't think that you should ever look for a job. Like, I never set out to be BC. It was just like, here you go, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys. But I think being authentic to yourself, right? Being yourself, being genuine will get you so much further in life, dude. Yep. Like, think about this, right? A lot of the friends and people that you meet, you either keep them as you said, like that tight circle, right? Because you meet the genuine version of themselves, and you're like, that's a good person. Like, I can learn from that guy, and I can also keep that guy to myself. That's cool. Bring him in. And you meet another person, and you go, there's something not right. Or, maybe you don't try enough and you don't care enough. Well, if you don't care enough, I don't really want you around. Yeah. Okay. Right? So if you're always genuine, you're always going to find people reciprocate that. So that means they're going to be genuine back. Mm-hmm. So that's great, right? So if you're yourself always, right? You're never trying to fit in. You're never trying to make it to this group. At the end of the day, it's not going to work out. Yep. Yeah, people sift through the BS well enough.
Easy.
Easy.
It's just human nature.
Yeah. Right? You sift through it. Eventually you find out who's who and who's not, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my first piece. And the second piece is find something that really channels you, inspires you, makes you happy, right? Like, I'll use one of our cadets. He's our PAO. You know his name. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to put people out there. Yeah. But he made with, I will put it out there because it's public, Cadet McDonald. You know McDonald, right? Yeah. The meme of our company.
Yeah,
Italian, really.
He's awesome.
They made a spirit video. You guys should all check it out. USF.
That was amazing.
It was so well done. I was talking about that with Amanda.
I watched it like 50 times.
Dude, it's hilarious. The one-liner. I DM'd USF Barstool.
Oh wow!
I was like,
oh man, yeah.
I might have to text Stevens to be like, hey, I know you're verified on Instagram because you have like 100 million followers. But like, can you get this DM through for me, dude? But yeah, I was like, dude, how well done is that? But I was having a conversation with Sergeant Irwin, our the junior instructor who had him last year. And he goes like, he wasn't motivated to do X, Y, and Z, but he's motivated about this, like photography, PAO stuff, right? And I was like, wow. So if this kid was, let's just say, a not top performer, right? But he had a passion. And that passion brought out something that's going viral right now. Like, dude, it's getting shared across everywhere that I've seen, at least in the Army right now. Like, I would love for it to branch out because it's a funny video.
It is. It's going crazy, bro.
It is. And I really want to share it more. I know, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I need Stevens, I need your verification. Yeah. I don't have it, but
ESPN shout out.
Top 10. Pat McAfee show, Bussin' with the Boys, all the favorites, dude. Let's get it on there. But so like he found a passion, and it brought out this amazing level of energy and discipline. Yep. Dude, if anyone can do that, if anyone can find their passion in life, you're gonna find a natural well of this like energy and discipline, obsession and commitment. Right? So if you're gonna be yourself, you're gonna find that, and when you find that, you're gonna chase that and keep doing it. If you walk away with nothing else, man, do those things, you'll at least have your days will go by 50% easier.
And self-development comes a little bit easier that way too.
That's true.
Because it's like, I'm just doing what I love.
Yeah.
Period. That's why I tell people all the time. People like, Cartez, what do you do for fun? I work on my clothing brand. Period. I work on my clothing brand, or I'm doing the podcast right now. This is fun to me.
This is fun.
It's because it's in my element. This is Cartez at its truest form. Like, this is me. Yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. This is me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So and through there, you're able to you find more joy in developing a better person. And then, like you said, that passion. Once you find that passion, it's a wrap. Nothing can tell you. Nobody can tell you anything. Once you find that passion, it's pretty much a wrap for anybody. Like, you get that taste of that dream, it's over.
Oh yeah,
it's over. And I'm glad you brought up that point, because I mentioned again 2 podcasts ago in that same thing. Yeah, man.
Yeah, there you go. Listen.
Listen
to the episodes.
I mean, like seriously, like seriously. That's
real.
I'm mad, dude. The episode,
listen to the episode.
Because in that, I say so many leaders are so quick to give up on other people when all you have to do. Even as a leader, you have to find what it is that you have to find who that person is. And that's just come with knowing your team. You have to know your team. Okay, I know this person like this, I know that person like this, because everybody isn't good at everything. Yeah. For instance, our PAO, he may not have been good at this, that, or third. Right. But he was, as we can see, really good with, does a heck of a job at what he does now. Right. Right. And you just have to find that, because everybody ultimately fits into a puzzle piece. At the end of the day, it's a big puzzle piece going on in this world, and all space-time continuum, right? I'm a firm believer there's a big old puzzle piece, and everybody plays a piece in that puzzle. Yeah. You have to find, right? Let's say in a puzzle, you have this random piece you picked up and you can't fit into this certain slot. Does that mean that piece isn't part of that puzzle when it came with the set? No, it means it's part of the puzzle. It just doesn't fit at that place that you're trying to push it into. Yeah, it fits right where it needs to be. Right, and that's where as a leader, you have to look into. But that also comes from just developing yourself and identifying, okay, this is what I'm good at, and these are some ways that I can kind of move around things. Yeah. So I really love that you brought up that point.
Hey man, so true. You took it and ran with it, brother. I'm just here.
Nah, man. But really, I really thank you for coming on the podcast episode, man. As always, bringing the energy. Like I ain't gonna lie, we might have to come back on the podcast for another time. Like low key. I'm serious. Yeah, I'm here. I enjoy having you on the podcast, man. Great energy, you're amazing, man.
Before we go, we have a question for you. When did you know I wasn't white?
I'm gonna keep real with you. Yeah, I'm keep real with you. The second time we hung out. No joke. I was like, second time we hung out, I said, oh yeah, nah. He got some work in him. I was like, oh man. I think actually, okay, let me bring up the time. I think we were in the car, right? I think we were in the car and you were playing music, and then you were like, man, how do you not know about this person? Yada. We just talking. You was on the history stuff. So hold on, what? I didn't know about all these people. And then we go to we're at the Bucks game, right? The same day we're at the Bucks game, and bro just starts going to tangent. He started talking. I said, bro, he sounds like I'm like a brother. We're talking like you guys are brother. And it was like, okay. And at that point, I said,
and you know it's funny. He comes up from the waist down. Dude, I used to, when people find out that I was raised by a black guy, it's like, dude, the funniest.
They don't know what to say.
They don't know what to say. Or the two, I've seen it happen to so many of our friends. They just put their hand on their forehead. They go, that explains so much. I'm like, how does that explain so much, dude? They're just like, yeah, it does. You know, it's just got a little bit of soul. You know, it's like, yeah, I do. Man, I'm telling you what it is, dude. For sure. Yeah, bro. But that was my burning question. It had nothing to do with leadership. I just wanted to know when you were like, he's not that white. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little bit, but not much. You know?
Yeah, verified, validated.
Verified and validated, dude. Hell yeah. Let's go.
But Inspo Dreams here to create a community of leaders and hardworking individuals who are highly motivated and want to take control of their future and rise above their standards. I'm Inspo Dreams, Cartez.
I'm Noah.
All right, baby. We out for the day. Let's get it.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go.